Okay, here is a revisit of bed number 8, which is the cilantro. The cilantro is getting nice and tall. Does not look like it's in any jeopardy of bolting at this time. There's definitely some weeds in here, in some places more than others. Usually cilantro will block out in this bed because it's so thick in here. Most of the time it will block out the weeds, but I'm noticing that I've got a section here that I don't know if the cilantro just didn't come up or if the weeds beat the cilantro. But this whole section here is weeds. There's some weeds in there. One of the things I want to do is I want to clean this bed out, and the reason is because I have coriander that I save every year, which is the seeds of cilantro. And I go for a, what is it called? Second harvest, or, oh dear, word escaped me. Succession planting, that's what it's called. So I will go for, because these will bolt, and then the flavor is just a little off. For my neighbor, I'm not a cilantro fan. And per what I've read, I do like a tiny bit of cilantro, but I am team genetic no. So what I'll do is I'll come through and I'll put the cilantro in the spaces. So I will let some of it bolt, but then there will always be some that isn't bolting. And usually the reason is because my tomatoes are done way ahead of the cilantro. Or way behind, I should say. The cilantro is usually way ahead. So I want to have like a second flush of cilantro. It's kind of hard because cilantro doesn't like the heat, and that's when it usually bolts. It's not usually the season as much as it's the heat. I've seen it bolt and the flowers are just as tall as these plants. A little bit of cilantro here. Oh, trying to work around it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean this bed up just enough that I can put in a little, like maybe even a row, a little small row, 2 feet, half a meter of cilantro, and then I'll come back 2 weeks later and do the same thing. Come back 2 weeks later and do the same thing. A lot of cilantro isn't needed. What is needed is to have it at the right time. Well, last year I only had 1 flush of it because I did not succession plant it. I see a cilantro here, but I can't seem to. There's weeds all around it. I'm not going to do this whole bed. I'm just going to do this little section right now. And then when I come through and seed this, I'll come through and do more of the bed. Although, sometimes once I get started and I say, I'm only going to do a little, I do the whole thing. Because I love it. Crunch. You hear that? Yeah. If you like to pop those little bubbles in the bubble wrap. I love popping weeds. Oh, there's a lot of weeds in here. Should put my gloves on. I'll regret it as I'm scrubbing my hands tonight. I don't know if I've done a cilantro video. I'll have to look back. I thought I did, because I did most of these smaller beds since they hold perennials, and you can see things that I'm working around and looking for. Like I know I did the milkweed. I'm looking for thistles still. I'm seeing that they are in way many more places than I had anticipated this year. My bucket. Let's make a pile. Come back. you ask me, this is the hardest kind of weeding when you're going in between plants, especially when they haven't been planted in nice, neat rows. Second hardest type of weeding is, you see, there's a tomato that grew from last year. I have a heart to leave it there, but I know it's going to get too big and need to be staked. Oh, we'll let it live for now. I'm really just looking for the taller big weeds right now. Then there's a lot of clover in here and grass. The grass kind of gives itself away because it has a red, as it gets taller, it's got this red base to it. Which is really easy in the onions. Unless you're growing red onions, then it becomes more difficult because now you've got a plant that's upright and you're just looking at the stalk to see if it's different or the same. See what I mean? I said I was going to do a little bit, and look at it, keep going. Yeah. If you have a gardener in your life, or you are a gardener, you know what I mean. Once you get out here, sometimes the hardest part is getting out here. Getting yourself together. I have everything in a little wagon, so I don't really have to look for anything. My gloves that I'm not wearing, my shovel are all in the wagon. I have some really nice pads that I can sit on. They're in the wagon. All right. We're going to let the cilantro grow. And like I said, I'll come back through and put in a row of seeds. That one, that's a big one. Well, that didn't work. Okay, we're gonna leave this. I'm not gonna. I swear. I swear. Stop. 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 You're not gonna do it anymore. Look. Get your hand out of the garden. Okay. Funny part is I don't actually even like the smell of cilantro. Must be that genetic thing that they talk about. Okay, I'm done. I swear, I'm done. Whoop, that's a good thing. Gotta pull up the weeds. Okay. So we'll leave this be for now. There's still quite a few, but I'm going to come through and put in some coriander seeds so that I can get a reseeding on, or get a succession plan on this, and we can go from there. Oh, look at this. Keep them right here. Fetch. Okay. Bye for now. Okay, I wanted to do a quick update on bed number 8, the cilantro, which turns into coriander. So this is the coriander. See, they're not, they're kind of dry. Let's see, you can see them. That is coriander, because these plants have flowered and they're making the seeds. So what I'll do is I'll throw those seeds back into the garden. I do weed this every few days, but I don't always do a great job, and I think I keep skipping the front here. So there's quite a bit of clover that has popped up. Pop, pop, pop. pop these weeds out of here. I don't know if you can see this or not. Bring it down. Okay, so there is some clover in here. And you can feel the difference between the plants. The coriander or the cilantro is this thick stem, whereas this is thinner, a little bit more round. So it just comes right up. It's shallow rooted, so it's usually not a hard thing to do. But the reason why I'm bringing it to this bed was because I planted, because I knew this was going to go to seed and flower early, because this is the stuff that came up in the spring. So then I started a succession plant, or a second planting of the cilantro underneath. And what this does is, one, it's underneath another plant. So plants that are understory tend to grow just a little bit smaller and slower. I watered this constantly to make sure that it stayed moist while the seeds germinated. And even now I come back every day or two. We've only had 0.16 inches of rain so far at my location. That's not enough. So I have been watering either with my rain barrels or the hose. But it is possible. And then the nice part about this is my tomatoes are still green. As my tomatoes ripen up, the cilantro will be ready to harvest. So I put some here in this corner. You can see these are the coriander seeds that I planted to get more cilantro. And there's another patch over there on the other side. And of course, one of the hardest weeds ever to pull is also in this bed. Yet again, a volunteer tomato. I don't know. I've got so many tomatoes. I don't know the variety. I might just pull it. Although the reason I grow the cilantro is for the, oh, there's two plants in here. Well, we will definitely pull the second one out. I grow the cilantro for the tomatoes, so to be used with the tomatoes. So, and then over here you can see there's the other section of cilantro seeds. So I made a line here and then a line going back there underneath because there was a bare spot. And there's still some weeds to pop. Yay! Underneath, usually in the middle. I do not want to pop weeds around the seedlings though, because your seedlings are trying to get established with their roots. So I will try not to. I mean, unless it's something that I know is going to be a problem. Around the established plants, the roots are fairly into the ground and stable. If I pulled one of the plants, you'd see that, but I don't want to pull one of the plants because I want the coriander. And then I use that coriander both for cooking and I use it to plant more. So I do a second running of this. Although in prior years I keep forgetting to do a second run, a second succession plant they call it, which just means planting it again. You can't always wait till these seeds come out and then plant. It doesn't seem to work. It needs to be seeds from last year for some reason. And I don't really treat my seeds, except I keep my seeds in the basement. Maybe that's enough cooling for them. And then they seem to pop up no problem, although I do overseed. But that's it. That's an update on this bed and my coriander. Thank you. Enjoy and happy gardening. Bye.